Dex, get her out of here. I lay on the delivery bed, sweat soaking my hair, screaming at the top of my lungs at the man by the door. The contractions felt like they were crushing my bones one by one, yet they were nothing compared to the agony in my heart. My husband Dex is standing at the delivery room door, gently supporting his secretary Zia. Zia covers her mouth with a look of concern. Sis, don't get upset. Dex just cares about you. He sent me to learn the ropes so I can take care of you and the baby later. Learn from experience? Learn how to watch me get gutted? My vision blurred, I couldn't tell if it was sweat or tears. Dex frowned, his voice thick with impatience. Alara, can you just get a grip? Zia's trying to help. Why are you making a scene? A kind gesture? I looked at Zia's designer dress, one I'd clashed with countless times during my pregnancy, and at her slightly rounded belly, impossible to hide, and felt a wave of overwhelming nausea. My dear husband, when I was 9 months pregnant and about to bear him an heir, brought his pregnant secretary to watch my delivery. This is truly the most laughable joke in the world. The excruciating pain struck again. I clutched the bedsheet beneath me so tightly my fingernails nearly dug into my flesh. The doctor urged anxiously beside me, push, mother. I can see the head. I summoned my last ounce of strength, darkness swirling before my eyes. In my ear, Dex's voice rang out as sharp as a poisoned needle, piercing straight through my heart. Zia, look closely. Don't be afraid. You'll experience this too someday. His tone was so gentle it could squeeze water from a stone. I'd never heard him speak to me like this before. 3 years into our marriage, he has always been polite yet distant toward me, with a barely perceptible hint of contempt. I always thought he was just that kind of cold-hearted person. Only now do I realize he isn't cold, he simply doesn't warm up to me. Zia nestled into his arms, her voice trembling. Dex, I'm scared. It's so terrifying. Don't be afraid. I'm here. Dex gently patted her back, as if soothing a frightened kitten. I watched them, feeling as though my entire pregnancy had been nothing but a meticulously orchestrated deception. On those nights he occasionally came home, behind his seemingly caring greetings lurked the shadow of another woman. And I, like a fool, carried his child for 10 months, enduring both physical and mental torment. Wah! A loud cry snapped me back to reality. The baby had arrived. The nurse brought the infant over for me to see. Congratulations, it's a beautiful boy. I stared at that wrinkled little face, yet my heart felt utterly numb. This child I'd longed for 10 months now felt like cold, hard proof of how utterly failed this marriage was. Dex finally walked in, wearing a thin veneer of forced happiness. He glanced at the child, then turned to the doctor. Doctor, is my wife okay? The doctor nodded. Both mother and child are fine, but the mother lost quite a bit of blood and needs proper rest. Dex hummed an acknowledgement, then uttered words I'd never forget. Doctor, has the cord been cut? If not, let Zia do it. Let her share in the joy. The delivery room fell silent instantly. Several nurses and doctors stared at him as if he were a lunatic. Zia pretended to wave him off. Dex, this won't do. I can't possibly. What's there to be afraid of? Dex shrugged it off with a smile. Just consider it practice. I lay in bed, my body ice cold. My blood seemed to have stopped flowing, I couldn't even feel pain anymore. Staring at Dex's handsome yet utterly hideous face, I spoke, one word at a time. Dex. My voice was soft, yet it cut like an ice pick, carrying a bone-chilling cold. He finally turned his gaze toward me, his brow slightly furrowed. What now? Stop throwing a tantrum. I smiled, but tears streamed down my face uncontrollably. Let's get a divorce. The child is mine, I said. She has nothing to do with you or your Liu family anymore. That bastard in her womb is the legitimate heir of your Liu family. Dex's expression changed instantly. Zia beside him also dropped her pitiful expression, a flash of venom crossing her eyes. Dex's mother, my mother-in-law Siren, had rushed in at some point. She shoved the nurse aside and stormed to my bedside, pointing her finger at me and yelling, "Alara, you crazy woman. What nonsense are you spouting right after giving birth? You think you can take away the grandson our Lou family has waited 3 years for? Not a chance." She looked at me, her eyes brimming with contempt. "It's just letting Zia come in for a look. Why are you making such a big deal out of it? You don't have a shred of dignity as the head of the household. How did the Lou family end up marrying such a troublemaker like you?" I looked at her face, twisted with rage, and suddenly found it laughable. This was the family I had once tried to please, to belong to. I closed my eyes, refusing to look at them anymore. I fumbled for my sweat-soaked phone and dialed a number from memory. The call was answered almost instantly. "Brother," I croaked, my voice thick with tears. On the other end, my brother Ace's steady voice reassured me, "Alara, don't be afraid. I'm here." Just those words shattered all my strength in an instant. Brother, he brought his pregnant mistress to the delivery room to watch me give birth. Brother, I want a divorce. Brother, I don't want anyone else. I only want you and our baby. There was a few seconds of silence on the other end of the line. Then, Ace's voice turned icy cold. "Got it. Hand the phone to Dex." I passed the phone to Dex. Seeing the word brother on the screen, his expression darkened even further. He hesitated before taking the call. No sooner had he uttered hello than Ace's roar erupted from the receiver, reverberating throughout the delivery room. "Dex. Are you fucking human or not? Get your people out of my sister's room. Now. I'm giving you half an hour. If you show your face to my sister again, I guarantee the Lou family will vanish from City A by tomorrow. And get ready to sign the divorce papers. My daughter from the Jiang family isn't here for you to treat like this." Dex's face instantly drained of color. Dex, his mom, and that Zia were yelled off by my brother's phone call. The whole world finally fell silent. The nurse took care of everything for me and transferred me to the VIP ward on the top floor. This is the same room my brother and I stayed in before. Security is extremely tight, not even a fly could get in without my permission. The baby sleeps in the small crib beside me, breathing evenly. As I watch him, my heart is filled with mixed emotions. Half an hour later, there was a knock on the hospital room door. Thinking it was my brother, I said, "Come in." The door opened, and a man dressed in a black suit and wearing gold-rimmed glasses stepped inside. It was my lawyer, Lon. "Alara." Lon gave me a slight nod and placed the document folder on the nightstand. "You've been working hard." I propped myself up to sit. "Just lie down." Lon pressed me back down. "Ace has already told me everything." He opened the document folder and took out several papers. "This is the divorce agreement. I've drafted it according to your instructions. Please review it. If everything looks good, you can sign it." I took the agreement, its terms clear and unambiguous. First, both parties voluntarily divorce. Second, the child Leo shall be raised solely by the female party, with the male party having no visitation rights whatsoever. Third, regarding the division of marital property, all assets under Dex's name, including real estate, vehicles, and company shares, shall be solely transferred to me. I looked at the third clause and frowned slightly. "Lon, isn't this one a bit too?" "Alara, this is Ace's intention," Lon interrupted me. "Ace says Dex owes everything he has today to the Jiang family's support. Since he dared to treat you this way, he should be stripped of everything and leave with nothing. My brother's approach has always been this way, ruthless and decisive." Without further hesitation, I picked up the pen and signed my name at the bottom of the agreement. Alara. I'd written those 2 words countless times before, yet never had it felt so effortless, so utterly final as it did today. After signing, I handed the agreement to Lon. "Thank you for your help." "It's my pleasure." Lon tucked away the document. "I'll handle things with Dex. You just focus on your recovery." Not long after Lon left, there was another knock on the hospital room door. This time, it was my brother, Ace. He wore a black trench coat covered in travel dust, with faint dark circles under his eyes. Clearly he'd rushed straight here after stepping off the plane. "Brother," I said, looking at him, my eyes stinging again. Ace strode over to my bedside, ruffled my hair, and spoke with heartfelt concern. "You silly girl, why didn't you tell me sooner when you were feeling hurt?" I shook my head, forcing back the tears. I thought I could handle it. Handled it? Ace scoffed coldly. "You're just too patient, that's why they keep pushing their luck." He glanced at the sleeping baby beside him, his expression softening slightly. "What's the little one's name?" "Leo," I said. "Nice name." Ace nodded. "From now on, he's our Jiang family's treasure. No one better bully him." As we spoke, a sudden commotion erupted outside the hospital room. It was Siren's voice, sharp and shrill. "What gives you the right to bar me from entering? I'm here to see my grandson. Let me make this clear, that's my daughter-in-law in there, and my own grandson on that bed. You bunch of bullies, get out of my way." Immediately after, Dex's voice, strained with suppressed anger, snapped, "Mom, cut it out." Ace's expression darkened instantly. He strode to the doorway and yanked the door open. Outside, Siren was shoving and pushing at two bodyguards like a shrew. Dex stood behind her, his face ashen. Upon seeing Ace, Siren froze for a moment before her arrogance only grew more brazen. "Ace! You're just in time. Look at what your sister's done. She just had a baby and now she wants a divorce, trying to snatch away the Liu family's seed. Is this how the Jiang family raises daughters?" Ace didn't even bother to glance at her, merely staring coldly at Dex. "I gave you a chance." Dex's lips twitched as if he wanted to say something, but in the end, he kept it to himself. "Ace, Alara's just upset. She'll be fine once she calms down," he explained. "There's been a misunderstanding between us." "A misunderstanding?" Ace snorted as if he'd heard the biggest joke in the world. "You brought your pregnant mistress to my sister's delivery room and forced her to watch you two lovey-dovey? And you call that a misunderstanding? Dex, I really underestimated you before. I thought you were just stupid, but I never imagined you could be this evil." Every word from Ace felt like a knife, stabbing deep into Dex's heart. Dex's face turned from green to white, then white to red. What are you on about?" Siren cut him off impatiently. "Why waste your breath on all this nonsense? Alara is family now, our Liu family. The child she bore is our Liu family's grandson. If she wants a divorce, fine. But the child stays with us." "Stay?" Ace smiled, but the smile didn't reach his eyes. "Haven't you figured out the situation yet?" He paused, then spoke slowly and deliberately. "From this day forward, my sister Alara has no connection whatsoever to your Liu family. As for the child, he is my Jiang family's grandson. Your Liu family is unworthy." "You!" Siren trembled with rage. And Ace's gaze shifted to Dex, the contempt in his eyes unmasked. "Your secretary, Zia, right? The child she's carrying is your true son. You'd better start thinking about how to give your eldest son and legitimate grandson a proper status." With that, Ace ignored them completely and slammed the door shut with a loud bang. Outside, Siren's curses and Dex's low growls mingled together, sounding like a farcical comedy. I lay in bed, listening to the sounds outside, my heart utterly still. It was over. Me and Dex, me and this home, it was completely over. The next day, Lon brought good news. Dex had signed. Though extremely reluctant, under Ace's relentless pressure, he had no choice. The divorce agreement, which could only be described as an unequal treaty, was now officially in effect. I became the wealthiest single mother in City A, while Dex, overnight, went from being the billionaire CEO of a publicly traded company to a debt-ridden pauper. My brother moved swiftly. On the very afternoon the divorce settlement took effect, the Jiang Group unilaterally announced the termination of all cooperation with the Liu Group. Keep in mind that over 60% of the Liu Group's business relied on the Jiang Group. This move, striking at the root of the problem, was ruthless and precise. Lu's stock price plummeted immediately, wiping out nearly 10 billion yuan in market value within hours. Soon after, major banks began demanding repayment, and partners started withdrawing their investments. The seemingly solid edifice of the Lu family crumbled in an instant. Lying in my hospital bed, I watched the news push notifications on my phone, my heart utterly unmoved. All of this was exactly what Dex deserved. My brother pushed open the door, carrying a thermos. "Have some chicken soup. I had Jenny make it for you." He poured the soup into a bowl and handed it to me. I didn't have much of an appetite, but I took it anyway and sipped it slowly. "Thanks, bro." "Silly girl, no need to be so formal with me." Ace ruffled my hair. "Just focus on getting better. Everything else is taken care of." I nodded. "Dex, how is he?" I couldn't help but ask. "Him?" Ace sneered. "He's got his hands full right now, barely keeping his head above water. I heard Siren went to the company yesterday and caused quite a scene, even scratched Zia's face." I was taken aback. "Why? What else could it be?" Ace sneered. "The moment the Lu family hit trouble, Zia grabbed the money Dex gave her and tried to make a run for it. But Siren caught her red-handed. Siren probably thinks that if it weren't for that vixen Zia, Dex wouldn't have ended up in this mess. Two dogs fighting, both end up with fur in their mouths." I remained silent. How ironic. Just a couple days ago, these two were putting on a show of love stronger than gold right in front of me, and now they've turned on each other in an instant. "Zia, is the baby in her belly really Dex's?" I asked. "Yes." Ace's eyes turned cold. "I had it checked. She is indeed pregnant, over 4 months along. From the moment she walked into the company, her target was Dex. Step by step, she plotted and lured him in. That fool Dex actually took the bait." I lowered my gaze and said no more. Truthfully, whether Zia was a design flaw or Dex was just plain stupid doesn't matter anymore. What matters is that he betrayed me. When I needed him most, he stabbed me in the back, and that's all that counts. Don't dwell on it. Ace sensed my low spirits and changed the subject. "Oh, and Mom and Dad are coming back next week." My heart warmed. My parents spent most of the year abroad conducting research and rarely returned home. If they knew how much I've suffered, they'd be heartbroken. Once you're discharged, move back to the Jiang family's ancestral home. It's peaceful there, and it'll be easier for everyone to look after you and Leo," Ace said. Fine. I had no objections. I never wanted to see that wedding home of mine and Dex's again. For the next few days, I rested peacefully in the hospital. My brother protected Leo and me well. No one from the Lu family ever appeared before me again. A week later, I was discharged from the hospital. The car drove straight back to the Jiang family's ancestral home. It was a Chinese-style garden villa nestled halfway up a hillside, offering a tranquil environment far removed from the clamor of the city. This was the place where I had grown up. Butler John and the servants greeted me at the door. "Welcome home, Mississippi." Seeing their familiar, warm smiles brought tears to my eyes. "John, I'm back. Home." It felt so good. I carried Leo into the living room, where an unexpected figure sat on the sofa. It was Zia. Dressed in simple maternity clothes, her face bore injuries, and she looked haggard and disheveled. Spotting me, she immediately stood up, twisting her fingers nervously. "Elara." I frowned and looked at my brother. Ace patted my shoulder, signaling me to calm down. "I asked her to come," he said. "What do you want with me?" I stared coldly at Zia. Zia bit her lip, then suddenly dropped to her knees before me with a thud. "Elara, I was wrong. Please, spare me," she cried tearfully. "I never meant to destroy your family. It's all Dex. He forced me. He said he never loved you at all, he married you only for the Jiang family's influence. He said he'd divorce you after you gave birth, then marry me. I was just momentarily bewitched, that's why I believed his lies. I listened quietly to her confession, my face utterly expressionless. These words could no longer stir any emotion within me. So? I asked. You came to me now hoping I'd feel sorry for you and help you take down Dex? Zia froze, clearly not expecting me to be so blunt. I just want to beg you, please spare him. She lowered her head, her voice barely above a whisper. Dex has nothing left now. He takes all his anger out on me. The child inside me, he doesn't want that either. He said if I dared to give birth to the child, he'd beat both of us to death. I looked at her slightly rounded belly, a complex wave of emotion washing over me. The child was innocent. But what did that have to do with me? This is between you and Dex. It's none of my business, I said coldly. You've got the wrong person. With that, I picked up Leo and started up the stairs. Elara! Zia suddenly called out loudly. She lifted her head, her eyes no longer pleading but filled with a near madness of venom. Don't get too cocky. You think you've won? Let me tell you this, Dex never loved you. There's always been someone else in his heart. Someone he's loved for years, but could never have. You're nothing but a substitute for that woman. My footsteps halted, my heart clenched as if something had twisted it violently. A substitute? What do you mean? I spun around, glaring coldly at Zia. Zia scrambled to her feet, a strange smile playing on her lips. Didn't you know? There's always been a locked drawer in Dex's study. Inside, there's a photograph of a woman. That woman looks a lot like you. Especially the eyes. I once asked him who that woman was. Drunk, he told me she was the only woman he'd ever loved in his life, his white moonlight. My mind went blank with a buzzing sound. White moonlight. A substitute? 3 years into our marriage, and I never knew I was merely another woman's shadow. How utterly ironic. Ace's expression darkened as he stepped forward, blocking my path. Zia, I advise you not to spout nonsense here. I'm talking nonsense? Zia laughed even more wildly. Ace, why don't you go ask your dear brother-in-law? Ask him who that woman named Rachel really is. Rachel. That name struck me like a bolt of lightning, shattering the dust-covered fragments of my memory. My body trembled violently, and I nearly lost my footing. Ace steadied me, his eyes filled with concern. Elara, what's wrong? I shook my head, my face drained of color. Rachel. How could it be her? Rachel was my college classmate and once my best friend. She was exceptionally beautiful, possessing an ethereal and fragile aura, like a white lotus untouched by the world. I've always known that Dex had madly pursued Rachel during college. But Rachel rejected him. Later, Rachel abruptly withdrew from school and went abroad due to family circumstances, and we never heard from her again. After that, Dex began pursuing me. I thought he had let go of the past. I thought he genuinely liked me. Looking back now, it all seems like a meticulously planned deception from the very beginning. He didn't like me, he only liked my face, which bore a resemblance to Rachel's. How ridiculous. I'd been his stand-in for 3 years without realizing it. Elara, do you understand now? Zia watched my dazed expression with a smug smile. You and I are no different. We're both just tools he uses to satisfy his own desires. The only difference is that you're luckier than me, you have a good family background and a good older brother. As for me, I can only blame my own misfortune. With that, she straightened her back, turned, and walked step by step out of the Jian family mansion. In the living room, a deathly silence fell. My brother helped me sit down on the sofa. Elara, don't listen to her nonsense. She's just trying to provoke you. I shook my head and gave a bitter smile. Brother, she's not talking nonsense. That drawer in Dex's study, I know about it. I once caught a glimpse of it by accident. He got really flustered and locked it immediately. I assumed it contained some important business secrets, so I didn't ask any further questions. Looking back now, it must have been Rachel's photo inside. My heart felt like it had been soaked in icy lemonade, sour and bitter, aching so deeply I could barely breathe. I always believed that while my marriage to Dex lacked passionate romance, it at least held mutual respect. I thought he was simply bad at expressing his feelings. Little did I know that in this marriage, I didn't even have the right to a name. I'm just a shadow, a cheap substitute. Ace watched my pain, his eyes blazing with fury. He pulled out his phone and dialed Dex directly. The phone rang for a long time before being answered. Dex's voice sounded weary and hoarse. "Hello? Dex." Ace's voice was as cold as ice. "I'll ask you just one thing, who is Rachel?" On the other end, Dex paused noticeably. That pause alone said it all. "Ace, what do you mean?" His voice carried a hint of panic. "What do I mean?" Ace sneered. "You treated my sister like a substitute, toyed with her for 3 years, and now you ask me what I mean? Dex, let me tell you this isn't over. Not only will I leave you with nothing, I'll make sure you're ruined and disgraced." Ace hung up the phone, his chest still heaving violently. He turned to look at me, his eyes filled with self-reproach. "Elara, I'm sorry. It's all my fault. Back then, I agreed to let you marry him. I thought he was someone you could entrust your life to, but I never imagined, he's a beast." I shook my head and took my brother's hand. "Brother, it's not your fault. I'm the one who misjudged him. It was me, blinded by so-called love, who plunged headlong into this deception. Now that the dream has ended, it's time for me to wake up." I took a deep breath and wiped the tears from the corners of my eyes. "Brother, do me a favor. Go ahead. I want Dex to pay the heaviest price for everything he's done." My voice was soft, yet unwavering in its resolve. "He destroyed my love, ruined my marriage, shattered my dignity. I won't let him off the hook so easily. I'll make him understand that I, Elara, am no pushover to be pushed around. I'm not anyone's replacement. I am Elara, the one and only Elara." Zia's appearance was like a fuse that ignited the flames of my vengeance. I was no longer satisfied with merely bankrupting Dex. What I wanted was to destroy his reputation and ensure he never recovered. My brother fully supported my decision. The Jiang family's influence began to mobilize in full force. First came the propaganda campaign. My brother hired the country's top PR firm to package Dex's marital infidelity, his affair with a mistress, his public humiliation of his wife, and even his portrayal of her as a substitute for his idealized ex, into sensational exposés. These were then fed to major media outlets. The entire internet exploded. Hashtag Luke Corporation CEO, the ultimate scumbag. Hashtag the battlefield in the delivery room. Hashtag I was a stand-in for 3 years. One trending topic after another dominated the top spots across all social media platforms. Dex's image plummeted overnight from that of a promising young business elite to a pariah everyone wanted to see gone. The company's reputation hit rock bottom. Countless netizens flooded the official Weibo account of Lu Group, leaving abusive comments demanding he get out of the business world. Next came my brother's second move. He leveraged the Jiang family's connections to uncover every illegal operation the Lu Group had engaged in over recent years. Tax evasion, bid rigging, commercial bribery, each and every case was backed by irrefutable evidence. One after another, whistleblower letters snowed down on various regulatory agencies. Soon, the Tax Bureau, the Administration for Industry and Commerce, the Securities Regulatory Commission, and a joint investigation team all descended upon Lu Group. Dex was barred from leaving the country and subjected to daily interrogations and investigations. He was overwhelmed and utterly exhausted. Meanwhile, I was comfortably recuperating at the Jiang family's ancestral home, tending to Leo. Day by day, Leo grew, his eyes gradually opening wider, becoming more and more like me. Watching his pure, smiling face, the gloom in my heart slowly began to lift. That day, I was sitting in the garden with Leo, soaking up the sun, when John approached. Miss, Dex is here. He's at the door and wishes to see you. My hand holding Leo paused slightly. Dex? Did he have the nerve to show his face? Tell him to get lost, I said coldly. Yes. John turned to leave. Wait. I called him back. After a moment's thought, I said, let him in. Some things needed to be settled face to face. A few minutes later, Dex was brought before me. In just half a month, he seemed like a different person. His former spirited vigor had vanished without a trace. Dressed in a rumpled suit, his hair disheveled, beard unkempt, and eyes sunken deep into their sockets, he radiated an air of utter desolation. He looked at me, his gaze complex. There was regret, there was resentment, and there was a hint of something I couldn't quite place, deep affection? How ridiculous. Elara, he said, his voice hoarse. I ignored him, content to play with Leo in my arms. Leo giggled, his little hand clutching my finger. Dex's gaze fell upon Leo. His eyes betrayed a hint of longing and pain. He's so adorable. None of your business, I cut him off coldly. Dex's face paled. He took a deep breath, as if gathering his resolve. Elara, I'm sorry, he said, looking at me, enunciating each word carefully. I know it's too late for anything now. But I still want to explain. About Zia, about Rachel, it's not what you think. I laughed as if I'd heard the biggest joke in the world. Not what I think. Then what is it? Dex, do you think I'm an idiot? You treated me like a stand-in, toyed with me for 3 years, and now that the truth's out, you want to play the devoted lover with me? Aren't you tired? Every word I spoke felt like a slap, landing hard across his face. His expression grew increasingly grim. I didn't. He suddenly exclaimed, his voice rising. I never saw you as a substitute. Yes, I admit it, I did like Rachel back in college. But that's all in the past. I married you because I love you. Elara, you've always been the one I love. Then what about the photo in your study? I demanded coldly. The one of that woman you locked in your drawer, how do you explain that? Dex's body stiffened abruptly. He stared at me, his lips parting, yet not a single word came out. His reaction had already given me the answer. The last shred of ridiculous hope in my heart was utterly shattered. Get out. I closed my eyes, unwilling to see his hypocritical face any longer. I never want to see you again. Elara. Dex stepped forward, reaching for my hand. 2 bodyguards immediately rushed over and blocked him. Elara, believe me. I really wasn't lying to you. He was still struggling in vain. That photo wasn't Rachel's. It was. Before he could finish speaking, he was forcibly dragged out by the bodyguards. The garden returned to calm. The sun was shining brightly, and a gentle breeze blew without a hint of dryness. I held Leo in my arms, yet my heart felt like ice. The photo wasn't Rachel's? Then whose was it? Could it be that, besides Rachel, I'm just another woman's stand-in? Dex, how much more are you hiding from me? After Dex was driven away, my life returned to its usual calm. Yet deep inside, a knot remained knotted. That photograph. Dex said the person in the photo wasn't Rachel. Then who could it be? Why would he treasure a woman's photo so much that he'd even lie to me? This question, like a thorn, pierced my heart and left me restless. I decided to get to the bottom of it myself. I had my brother help me get the keys to the wedding home Dex and I had once shared. Taking advantage of a weekend, I left Leo with the nanny and returned alone to that place that felt both familiar and strange. Everything inside the house remained exactly as I had left it. The air carried a musty scent. Without a moment's hesitation, I headed straight for the study on the 2nd floor. The door was unlocked. Pushing it open, my eyes immediately fell upon the mahogany desk. The 3rd drawer on the right. That's the one. I walked over and pulled the drawer. It was locked, just as I expected. I was prepared. I pulled out the master key my brother had given me from my bag. Click. The lock opened. My heart leapt into my throat. I took a deep breath and slowly pulled open the drawer. Inside, there wasn't the stack of photos I'd imagined. Only an exquisite velvet box. I picked up the box and opened it. Inside lay a yellowed photograph, still and silent. In the picture, a girl with a radiant smile stood in a field of sunflowers, dressed in a white sundress, her laughter as bright and sunny as the flowers around her. That face. My whole body trembled as if struck by lightning. The girl in the photo wasn't Rachel, nor was she any woman I didn't know. That face was clearly me during my college years. How could this be? My mind was in utter chaos. This photo was taken during my sophomore summer break when I went to the countryside for a sketching trip. Rachel was there too. She took the photo for me. But why is this picture here? Why would Dex lock it away in his drawer, treating it with such reverence? I picked up the photo and turned it over. On the back, there was a line of elegant handwriting. My sunflower girl, may your life be forever bathed in sunshine. Signed, no name. Only a date. The day after I took this photo. My heart pounded wildly. A ridiculous yet daring thought took root in my mind, growing wildly. Could it be? Could Dex have? No, impossible. If he really liked me back then, why did he pursue Rachel? Why did he play the role of an indifferent husband in front of me? Why did he get entangled with Zia, even causing such a scandal? It just doesn't make sense. Holding the photo, I walked out of the study in a daze. In the living room, someone had appeared, I hadn't noticed when. Dex. He stood there, silently watching me. In his eyes was a depth of pain and longing I'd never seen before. You saw everything? He asked, his voice hoarse. I held up the photo in my hand and demanded, what the hell is going on here? You like Rachel, don't you? Then why do you have my photo? Dex looked at me and gave a bitter smile. The one I've ever liked has never been Rachel. From the moment I first saw you at the freshman orientation, standing there as the outstanding student representative giving your speech, I fell for you. I love your confidence, I love your boldness, I love how you shine like a little sun, always so dazzling. That photo, I begged Rachel for it. I've always treasured it, because it's the only thing I have that's yours. My heart felt like it had been struck hard by something. Then why did you go after Rachel? I asked, my voice trembling. Because I feel inferior, Dex's eyes welled up with tears. You're the Jiang family's heiress, a girl blessed by heaven. But I'm just a poor kid from the countryside. I couldn't bring myself to confess to you. I was afraid of being rejected, afraid we wouldn't even be friends anymore. Rachel and I were close. I pursued her just to get closer to you, to have more chances to see you. I thought that if I worked hard enough, if I became good enough, one day I could stand by your side with pride. But before I could become good enough, Rachel went abroad, and you started seeing other guys. Later, when my business succeeded, I thought I finally had the right to pursue you. But at that time, I learned that the Jiang family was arranging a marriage alliance for you. I feared someone else might take you away, so I used certain means to demonstrate my capabilities to your father, ultimately bringing about our marriage. Listening to his words, I was completely stunned. So this was the story behind it all, a tale of deep affection and humble, secret admiration. But what about Zia? What's the deal with Zia? I couldn't let it go. If you love me, why are you still with her? At the mention of Zia, a flicker of pain and regret crossed Dex's face. It was a conspiracy. Zia, she was sent back by Rachel. What? I was stunned. Rachel? Wasn't she abroad? Rachel, she's always been jealous of you, Dex managed to say. She envied your family background, your talent, and the fact that everyone adored you. After she left the country, her family went bankrupt and fell on hard times. She blamed it all on you, on the Jiang family. That's why she had Zia get close to me. Her goal was to get back at you, to destroy your marriage, to make you suffer. Zia drugged me, took those photos and videos, and threatened me, saying she'd make them public and ruin your reputation if I didn't do as she said. I'm scared. Alara, I'm truly scared. I'm afraid that if you see those things, you'll misunderstand me and leave me. So I can only compromise for now, pretending to play along with her while I try to find a solution. The delivery room that day, she planned it all. She deliberately provoked you, wanting you to make an irrational decision in the heat of the moment. I never imagined things would escalate to that point. Alara, I was wrong. I was truly wrong. He knelt before me with a thud. I shouldn't have been so cowardly, shouldn't have chosen such a foolish way to protect you. I should have told you everything sooner. Please, give me another chance, okay? He lifted his head, tears streaming down his face as he looked at me. Let's start over, okay? I stared at Dex, kneeling before me and crying like a child, my heart numb. Start over? How easily he said it. Those wounds, those betrayals, those scars etched deep into my heart, how could a few simple I'm sorry's ever heal them? If only he had told me the truth sooner, if only he had trusted me a little more, things might not have come to this. But there are no ifs. Dex, I said calmly, it's too late. Between us, there's no going back. His body jerked violently, the color draining from his face. No. Alara, let me explain. Enough. I cut him off. I don't want to hear any more excuses from you. Whatever your reasons back then, you betrayed me, that's a fact. You made my newborn child, the laughingstock of the entire city. That's also a fact. I won't forgive any of it. I gently placed the photo in my hand on the coffee table. Here, take this photo back. Thank you for once loving me so much. But that's all in the past now. The person I am today doesn't love you anymore. After saying that, I turned away without looking back and walked resolutely out of the place I once called home. I never found out what became of Dex. All I know is that from that day on, he never came to bother me again. A month later, my brother informed me that the Lu Group had officially declared bankruptcy and entered liquidation. Dex was sentenced to 15 years in prison for multiple concurrent offenses. Zia, meanwhile, received a 5-year sentence for involvement in commercial crimes and extortion. The child she was carrying ultimately couldn't be saved. As for Rachel, my brother tracked her down too. She was hiding in a remote town overseas, living in poverty. My brother asked me if I wanted to do something about her. I shook my head. No need. For someone like her, letting her spend the rest of her life consumed by jealousy and resentment might be the cruelest punishment of all. All grievances have been laid to rest. My life has finally returned to its proper course. I took over a subsidiary under the Jiang Group and began learning how to manage a company. Every day is packed, filled with meetings, reviewing documents, and absorbing new knowledge. Yet, I find my days deeply fulfilling. I am no longer the stay-at-home wife hiding behind my husband. I have my own career and my own life. Leo is growing up day by day. He is bright and very sensible. With him by my side, I never feel lonely.